in your area. I'm young and smart, with tons of heart. I just wanna do things on my own. Open the door for other girls. You don't have to do life alone. We say OMG sister, it's our time to fly. We do this together, I'm right by your side. Take my hand and we go light up the sky. How you raise up your next? How you like that? Since you're up next, da 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 da. How you like that? Since you're up next, da 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 da. Now, look at you, now look at me. Look at you, now look at me. Look at you, now look at me. Since you're up next, now. Look at you, now look at me. Look at you, now look at me. Look at you, now look at me. Since you're up next.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new MK Girl Thursday. Woo! We are super excited to have everyone here on tonight, back for another Thursday, ready to have a conversation with all of us because that is what we love to do the most. So we are going to go ahead and introduce ourselves. My name is Q, and I am excited for tonight because tonight is a little bit more fun. I know we're usually on the serious side, but tonight we're actually just letting go, and it's going to be so much fun. So I'm ready to tell everyone the topic. We're going to go ahead and move it along to our sister, Carrington.
Good evening and welcome in, everybody. We are super excited to see your faces here. We are super excited just to get into the topic. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I couldn't even say the word. I am super excited to talk to you all, and we are super excited to share what we have.
Yes, yes. And moving along to our sister, Aaliyah.
Yes, today we are going through something very unique. It's going to be very fun, and you're going to get to see a little bit of each of our own unique personalities. So today should be really fun.
Yes, and moving along to our sister, Nidira.
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here today, and I am so glad that you guys keep coming back week after week. This is so much fun, and I'm so excited to start for tonight.
Awesome. And moving along to our sister, Amaya.
Good evening, everyone. I am going to keep the topic on the hush hush. I am Amaya. I'm super excited for tonight, but like I said, I'm going to keep the secret in. I can do it. I'm super excited to show you guys like how unique our personalities are and our different takes on this topic tonight.
Right. And last but not least, we have to introduce our little sister, Armani.
What's up, everyone? Tonight is going to be amazing because also it is Thursday. That's the best day of the week. And I just think that we're going to rock this one out. It's going to be super fun, totally different. So let's go ahead and get started.
Yes.
Yes.
So we're going to go ahead and explain our house rules. So if you're new here, we have to let you know what the rules are for the New MK Girl Thursday. So number one is don't sit back and relax. We love to hear what you have to say. So if you look at the bottom, if you're familiar with Zoom, you know that there's a chat button. So we want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear your opinions because that's what we're here for. It's a conversation. We don't want to just be talking to ourselves. Number two is using the reaction. So we are the generation of reactions, okay? We love emojis. So if you look at the bottom again, you'll see where you can put the laughing emoji, the heart emoji, whatever to express what you're feeling at that moment. And then the last one is if you know someone who should be on this call tonight, because you know we love sharing our thoughts and opinions and the things that we're learning along the way with other people, stop what you're doing and text them. Tell them, girl, you need to be on this call so that way you don't miss anything. So those are our house rules for tonight. Now, getting into the topic. So we were thinking today, and this one is a little bit fun. I love just being able to share, like they said, a little bit more of our personality side. And so the question for tonight is, if you were a t-shirt, what would your quote be? So we all have seen those t-shirts where it has the words on it with the quotes, and some of them are funny,
Yeah.
some of them are life lessons and things that you can explain to people. So what would you say that you would be your quote for your t-shirt? If you wore a t-shirt, what would be your quote? So ladies.
I would say my quote would be, stop letting your potential go to waste because you don't feel you deserve it. And I would say that would be a good quote, because t-shirts aren't only for you, they're for the other person as well. When you're walking by and somebody, like, let's say you have a hoodie and you have something on the back of your hoodie, you're not going to turn around and read the back of your hoodie. It's for the people behind you. If you have on a shirt, yes, you can see the shirt, but as you're walking through your everyday life, you're not the person looking at the shirt, everybody else is. So it's a reminder for you, but for somebody who's seeing it for the first time, it's kind of like knowing your worth and adding tags. It's kind of like an upgraded version of it. So I would say if I had a shirt, that would be like my number one brand, like my number one. That would be my number one.
I love that.
Love that. And mine has a little bit of a backstory. So I have to tell you the story first, and then I'll tell you the quote. So
Ooh.
in high school, I used to carry around like this piece of paper. I used to keep it folded up in my pocket everywhere I went. And on that piece of paper, guess what was written on it? 10 to 15 quotes from any movie or Google or anything. Literally, I would pull it out and I would say quotes like in any situation. Like if some of my friends were in an argument, I would pull out my sheet and say, and read off a quote, literally. And one of my favorite ones off of the sheet was, pride and fear are leashes that keep us from where we want to be because of what we need to do. So that was like at the top of my list. I would say that almost every day because something was happening where I needed to say the quote and somebody needed to hear it. So that would be my quote on my t-shirt.
Wow.
Yes.
That was a fortune cookie. Like you
It's
just
very
kept it
creative.
in your pocket and just kept it ready to go.
Right. That is very creative. I actually like that idea. I might start doing that. So thank you, Carrie. But one quote that I will put on a t-shirt. So this is so funny because I say this like all the time now, and I'd be like, YOLO. And what does YOLO mean? So YOLO means you only live once. So it's kind of symbolic too, because it just says you only live once, which means do everything that you can do. Anything that you want to do, go do it. If you have something in mind where you want to go, you want to take a trip, then go do it because you only live once. So especially when something is like going wrong or whatever, and you just need to fix the problem, YOLO. You only live once, so go fix it. Do what you need to do. And it also makes you laugh just a little bit because it's like at this point you might as well get it done. So yeah,
I love it.
I like that, YOLO. Isn't that a song? That came from a song, right?
It did.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember which one, but I do remember that it was.
Somewhere. Okay, but for me, mine is it is what it is. Okay, so the reason why I picked this one as my quote is because sometimes, how many of you ever had a game, like a Uno game, and you got the cards and you're like, these cards are ridiculous. I can't win with this card. This is just, garbage. And sometimes you just gotta say, you know what, it is what it is. Let me just go ahead and just try to win the game, as opposed to just giving up. And then I end up really just losing the game. And so that can translate into other things. Sometimes you try to have control over so many things, or you plan, if you're like me, you plan out everything and you just want it to go the way it is. And if it has one small move that it just says, oh, the whole plan is just shot. Well, no, that's not the case. Sometimes you just got to take the cards you've been dealt with, and you just got to say, you know what, it is what it is. So you know what, let me just figure out what I'm gonna do with what I got.
Right.
So that's why I say it is what it is. It's not quote.
It is what it is.
My goodness, you definitely know how to work with the cards that you are given.
Yeah.
My quote was, the true test of a woman's character is what it takes to stop her. So I picked that quote because I like to think of myself as a person who doesn't stop until I get what I want. Or I don't think there's ever been something that like I really wanted where I was just like, man, forget it, never mind. If I knew that was exactly what I wanted, I was going to run after it with all of my might, all of everything that was in me, even if I didn't know like how it was going to come, because it's not about how, it's about why. And so the true test of a woman's character is what it takes to stop her. And if it takes nothing to stop you, you know what type of person you are.
Wow. I love that. I think I've actually seen that before, and I really I love that quote just because I think it relates to all of us, because usually we really don't let things stop us. And so that being the test of a woman's character, I like that. Mine would be, well, my number one, well, one of mine, I don't know if it's my number one, but I would say plant your own happiness. And the reason I say that is just because a lot of times we give credit to people for making us happy, and that's really not possible. If you think about it, nobody can make you happy. Like, they can't go inside of your body and actually make you happy. The only thing they can do is contribute to it. And sometimes we give people way too much credit. You know, we base our emotions off of their emotions. If they're sad, we're sad. If they're angry, we're angry. And sometimes that really can get in the way of us moving forward, because we emotionally attach ourselves to people to the point where it can be unhealthy sometimes. And so I would say, you know, just keeping in mind that in order for you to be happy, it has to start with you before you can give anybody else that responsibility, whether it's a friendship, whether it's romantic, whatever the case may be. Before you can hand somebody that responsibility to contribute, not make you, but to contribute to your happiness, you have to find what makes you happy. I know for me, it's food. So if I know food makes me happy, then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go get me food, but I can't, you know, be upset if somebody doesn't do it for me, because that's not your responsibility. It's my responsibility to make myself happy first. And then once I know how to make myself happy, everyone else is just a bonus, you know, and that's family included. It's nobody that's excluded from that phrase. So I would definitely say mine would be plant your own happiness, and then the rest will be extra.
Yes.
And another one for me, I love this lyric from Hamilton. I don't know if anybody has seen the play Hamilton or seen the movie on Disney Plus, but Hamilton is really good. You should definitely go listen to the soundtrack or watch it. But one of the lyrics in it, it says, "With every word I drop knowledge." So I take that as in, when you are doing the work on yourself, you're reading, you're listening to positive things, positive affirmations, you can give those to other people. People are looking for people like you to say those things to them, because some people don't have anybody to pour positively in them. So wherever they look, and if it happens to be you, you should be ready. So whenever you see somebody and they do need some uplifting, you can be the person to be like, you know what? Let me give you this advice. Let me give you this insight. Let me help you in this way. Whenever you are ready to speak on to helping somebody else, that just allows you to just work differently and have a different purpose. Because everybody does have a purpose on this camera, but you just don't know what it is until you speak to somebody and you share what you have to say.
Right. I love that lyric. Allow me to be heard with every word I drop knowledge. That's my part. I actually like that one. And so I would say mine would be, if I had to give myself like a second t-shirt to my, I'm gonna call them my line of t-shirts, it would be protect your peace. It will have it in like big bold letters, probably be in pink, I don't know, have protect your peace like in big bold letters, because a lot of times we let people rob us of our peace, whatever, as long if it's our peace of mind, if it's our to some people, peace means actual silence. And so peace means different things for different people. But protecting your peace looks like putting things around you to not let things disrupt your peace, and not letting other people disturb your peace as well. And so a lot of times we got to reclaim our peace back. And so that would be like a reminder for myself to protect my peace.
I love it.
Yes, I like that. I can see it now with a peace sign, the circle, and you know. Okay, anyway, but my second quote that I will put on a t-shirt is "Don't stop until you're proud." So I just want to emphasize the "your" part, because it's when you're proud, not when someone else is proud. So if you have something that you want to do, but you're doing it for somebody else, then that's not making you happy. Then keep going. It's like finding a passion. Once you find what you really love and what you are like, I think somebody said it earlier, what's your purpose here in life, then you will continue to do that until it makes you proud. And whatever you want to do, that's what you want to do, then go ahead, go out there and shoot for the stars. That's the best thing I can tell somebody, is just be happy about yourself and make your own self proud, because sometimes we need it, and because other people won't tell us congratulations, so we need to be our own telling us a congratulations. So I would say that.
Yes.
I like that.
Your number one cheerleader. I can see with the cheerleader, the pom-poms on it for me. I'm gonna add another t-shirt to the new MK Girl line of t-shirts though. And so this one is gonna say delay is not denial. I think this one's gonna like have bold letters, will be purple, like really stand out and stick out because a lot of times we think like when we ask for something or when we want something that immediately we should get it. But that's not always the case. Just because it doesn't come right then and right there doesn't mean that it's never going to happen or it's never going to come. A lot of times it might not be the right time. The situation could be different. So we want to be able to be patient for the things that we ask sometimes because it's not always a no. That first no is not always a no. It's a lot of times we used to say it's not a no. It's a next time.
Not now.
So it's not now. That's would be my shirt for delay is not denial. A lot of times I know that like a story I wanted to share with you guys is one time I really wanted this doll when I was younger. And so there was like no computer. I didn't have a personal computer and I was young. And so I kept flipping through the book. My mom said no the first time. And I was like, but it's limited edition and like, I can't. And she was like, no. And so I was just like, okay. And then my grandmother, she actually talked to me and she was like, just because she said no the first time, Amaya, doesn't mean that the no is going to be the next time. So, maybe continue to do good in school, keep your grades up and see what's going to happen next. And so I did exactly what she said do. I didn't really bother my mom about it until I knew like the next report card came out and I did what I was supposed to do. And I asked for the same thing. And the answer was yes then, because, the time had passed. It was a better time for her. I proved myself. And so that first no is not the only no. It's actually just a not now or next, that type of thing. So I really like that phrase.
I like that one, Amaya. I would say my second quote would be, it was actually my high school quote. It said, hard work beats talent. And the reason I picked that one was because for me during school, I was always the kid, I did all of my work. I was doing the thing, but there was always this one classmate, and it was be crazy to me. Like she would be making hundreds. I was like, how did she get these grades? Because I don't be seeing her studying. I don't be seeing her taking notes. I don't be seeing her doing anything. Matter of fact, she was the top of the class. And I was like, this does not make sense. Like I am struggling here to understand this chemistry. And she's sitting here making straight A's. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? Let me just continue working, continue being consistent and things like that. And so eventually what happened was her behaviors. So she started, we call it senioritis. So basically when people start having poor behaviors, like she started skipping school, she started doing things with other people, surrounding herself with really some crazy people, but that's a whole nother story. But what happened was she ended up losing her place as number one in the class. And then all of a sudden when she left, I was able to move up. And it was really a big shock to me because at the time it wasn't my goal to be, in the higher up in the class, but it just happened. So it just goes to show that if you continue, oh goodness gracious, Candace, you rubbing off on me. If you continue to work hard consistently and put in the effort and don't really measure the outcome, you're going to see a bigger result than you ever thought you would. So that's why I said hard work beats talent.
I love that story, Nadira.
Right.
We were all a part of that journey to watch Nadira. We were like, how did you move up to? It was just, she was consistent. She was consistent. She was very consistent and she worked hard. So it does show that hard work beats talent. I would say my second one, if I had a t-shirt, and I would probably wear this t-shirt if I was ever doing something serious, maybe at like work or something. And it says, are we having fun yet? And the reason I chose that quote is because it just reminds you that sometimes we are stressed because we're taking the fun out of everything. And we can be very serious. And as women, I think we all can attest to this, that we can be so hard on ourselves that we really don't give ourselves a break. You know, whenever we make a mistake, we don't laugh at them. We actually beat ourselves up. But I remember, I know when we were dancing, because we all danced together and we would make mistakes, sometimes we would laugh at it. It's like, it was funny, and that just kind of taught us that along the way, whenever you are making mistakes in the real world, it's okay to laugh at them sometimes because you learn from them. You know that it's not going to kill you. You know it's not hurting you. It's just a simple laugh that stops you from being so serious on yourself. And it just reminds you to just have fun. And then I thought about something else, success without fun is just miserable, because you can be successful all day long. We see successful people all the time, but they're not having any fun and they look miserable. And it just kind of reminds you, yeah, I don't want to be that successful. I would prefer the one that's actually over here looking like they're having a ball. And sometimes, I think as adults, when we were younger, it just depends on who you were around or who you had as a teacher. Some people made looking fun as bad. They made you think it was bad to have fun. Like you couldn't have fun and learn at the same time. Learning had to be boom, 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 boom. If you was laughing, I remember I told one of my teachers that laughing was good for the soul. And he was really upset. And I was like, well, it is. You can laugh and learn at the same time. But he really didn't understand that concept. And so a lot of times that's just how we have grown up, that in order to be serious and in order to get things done, you have to be hard on yourselves. And that's not true. And so that would be my quote, is just to constantly remind myself, because I know I can be hard on myself, is, are you having fun? Like just asking yourself that question, even with Mary Kay or even whatever job you have, just asking yourself, am I stressed because I'm not having fun? We made everything a game. We used to do the go for no's, where instead of taking the rejection as a bad thing, we would say, you know what? Let's play a game. How many no's can we get? Let's just see how many no's. And we actually had fun doing that, because along the way, of course, you got yeses and you got people who, loved what you were doing and believed in what you were doing. But it was just all about changing the mindset and asking yourself, are you having fun? Because if you're not, then that's just being miserable. And we definitely don't want to be that. So that would be mine, is, are you having fun?
Yes. I would say my next one would be, confidence isn't walking into a room and thinking you're better than everyone. It's walking in and not having to compare yourself to anyone. And so for me, it will be like a statement of what confidence really is, because a lot of times when people have confidence, we don't realize how internal it is. That's why they say self-confidence. It's stuff that you can put inside of yourself. And we don't realize how much comparison is a confidence killer, because a lot of times when you're looking at what somebody else has, you're not acknowledging what you have. And a lot of times we've been taught that when somebody else gets something, it takes something from me, which is really not the case. Think about if you grew up, especially if you grew up with siblings, and maybe your older sibling got something and you didn't get something that time. It never meant you never got a toy. It just meant that wasn't your time. And so a lot of times we don't transfer those lessons into life. Or maybe you had a parent who will always give both of you gifts, or always give everyone gifts at the same time to eliminate the lesson. But either way, you have to learn that lesson. And so once you free yourself from comparison, you'll be able to let your confidence grow. And so that would be my third shirt, which would be, when you have confidence, it's basically not being able to compare yourself to other people, because then you get to acknowledge the gifts that you personally have. And think about a dance concept. If you walk into the room and you see a girl twisting her leg around her head, and you're like, dog, I cannot do that. But some people might be good at turns. Some people might be good at splits. Some people might just be good performers. And so each person is good at something different, which is why as a group, you will make something amazing. And as an individual, you will make something even more amazing. So that would be my third shirt.
I like that too, Aaliyah. And one thing that I can think of, I remember just having different situations or experiences with other people giving me their opinions about myself. On a t-shirt, I will put, your opinions are not my definition. If as a good person, as a person who always strives for higher, you always have people who have something to say. They may say, you need to move to this place because you're so good. You should take up this job because you're so good. And yet sometimes what they say aren't really things that you want for yourself. Now, yes,
Yes.
we do have things that we want for ourselves, but it may not be what other people want for us because they're just not what we want. So you have to be strong enough to say, no, that's not what I want. This is what I want. And sometimes it's easy, and then sometimes it's not so easy because it depends on who the person is. It could be a family member or it can be a friend. It's hard to fight off those opinions, but in your mind, you have to remember what you want for yourself. And you just have to realize that your purpose is yours. You can't let anybody else tell you what their opinion is because their opinion is not the same as your purpose. They don't know what's going on in your life. They don't know what's going on in your head. They don't know what plans you have for yourself and for your life. So whenever you go throughout the day, just remember their opinion is not the definition of you. Your definition is your definition. Just keep it that way.
Right.
And for this next quote, it kind of comes with a story. So I remember we were in high school, and like whenever we were just going through hard times, and like assignment was just giving it to us, is like, we can't do this. This is hard. It's just kicking our tail right now. We really just got to get through this. So we would make ourselves laugh, and we would say, if God won't do it, it won't get done. So that was just one quote that we will always say all the time. And that is definitely a quote I would put on a shirt. But in all seriousness, it just goes back to, like, if you don't have faith, then it most definitely won't get done as well. So in order to do something and you're doing a goal, and in that time when we were getting ready to graduate, because this was senior year, and we were just going, it was tough, but we got through it, of course. But to make ourselves laugh, we had to say, it won't get done. But that also just had to tell us that we have to believe in ourselves to get it done, and also do the work. Once we did the work, once we asked questions and we got help, then it was like, okay, now I think we can actually get through this obstacle. Okay, now I think we can get through this challenge. And it really did push us, because it was like everybody was tired. Everybody was like, we have a headache. We can't do this anymore. And once we said that, we all laughed, and then all jokes start going. And then it's like, okay, now we can get back on track. Now we're good. We're good to go. So it's kind of like a reset, just to say that quote at times to yourself, just to make yourself laugh and just to keep going.
That's funny.
Goodness. I remember we used to say it like just to get through the day, like she said, because sometimes you just need faith to get through it. It's not, well, you always need faith to get through it. I'm a big believer in that, but just being able to say that out loud kind of just the whole situation. And so another t-shirt I'm going to add to the new MK Girl t-shirt line is, this one's kind of deep, not really deep. I'm saying, okay, you never fail and you never lose, but you always learn. Okay. And so I really like that quote, because anytime you're in a situation and things don't work out the way that you wanted them to, it could feel like a failure. I'm usually the person that's really down on themselves, like, well, you should have done this, you should have done that, you should have done this, you should have done that, you should have done this, you should have done that, like really hard on myself, beating myself down, because I know in my mind, this was the list that I wanted to hit, and I didn't hit the list exactly how I wanted to hit it. And even if I did, like maybe something else was on the other side as far as the other person or whatever the situation was, which is why, it didn't turn out the way it was pretty picture perfect in my head. But just being able to realize that everything that I experience, I'm learning. It's not a fail. It's not a waste. It was not the trash can, as I might call it, but it was actually for me to learn a lesson, for me to get better, for me to practice, for me to learn how people react to me or how people react to things. Just really being able to give myself a chance to breathe and not be hard on myself, because that was a really, really big thing for me. All of my sisters probably remember, like sometimes they said it earlier. They're like, Amaya, you really like to glamorize certain situations. I was like, what are you guys talking about? But that's what they're talking about, just my perception of things, because you don't want to be hard on yourself like that. So always push forward and know that everything you do is a learning lesson, and that nothing is waste.
Amaya, what you just said was a word. And the reason why is just because it kind of goes into what I was going to say was mine, because it basically plays 2 and 2. So mine was do it now, sometimes later becomes never. And I think that goes so well together, because sometimes the reason we don't do things, whether it's an assignment, whether it's talking to someone, whether it's giving someone a phone call, you know, or just something as simple as starting something new. It doesn't matter what it is. Sometimes you don't start because of that fear of failing,
Right.
you know, so you believe that you're going to either fail or you feel like you're going to lose something. And we're always in that mindset of we have something to lose. But we've learned lately to start saying we have nothing to lose. Like we're not afraid to say that. We have everything to gain, whether that's a learning lesson, whether that's, you know, something that we actually wanted, you know, if it does work out in our favor, what we wanted actually came about. And if it doesn't, then you learn something different. So I love that you said that, Amaya, just because it does go into, you know, just do it now. Why wait? Sometimes, you know, it's not your fear of failure. Sometimes it could be, you know, your fear of getting out of your comfort zone. You know, if you're an introvert, it could be that you're afraid of talking to people. If you're outgoing, sometimes you might feel like you're afraid that you might run through people, you know, and not give people a chance to listen. Sometimes it's those deep insecurities that we have that people really don't know about, but we say it a lot in our head that we often use as like a stopping point or a defense mechanism to not do anything, you know, different. And so if you ever get a nudge, I call it, we always call it respecting those nudges that you have. It's also the same as trusting your intuition. Like if you get that feeling that something is for you, just go for it. If you get that feeling that you need to call someone, just do it. You know, that would be my third and last t-shirt, just because I do feel like it's important to just stop putting things off for tomorrow, because tomorrow's not promised. And so just understanding that it's okay to do things now. And one of our mentor would always say, you rather jump now and gain your wings along the way, you know, instead of holding back. And then you never know what would have happened. She always says, you know, time is going to move regardless. It's always going to be, if you have, you know, if it's 3 weeks, 3 weeks is going to come by regardless. Now, whether you do something or not, that's on you. But either way, time is going to move forward. And so just do it now. No regrets, no fears. Just go for it.
I like that one. I would say for me, as my third and final quote, it's something that I say all the time. It's very versatile, but you're such a blessing. And I say that one all the time. I say it as a joke, but really and truly the reason why I like that quote is because sometimes we deal with our worst enemy can be ourselves.
Yes.
Can say so many negative things. I think Amaya was saying that, you know, it can be very easy to just say things about yourself or get really hard on yourself. And so what I have to do sometimes is really reverse it and just say something positive to kind of interrupt those negative thoughts that may come into my mind. So I'll say, okay, you're such a blessing. So I may be saying that to Carrington, like, you're such a blessing, but I'm also saying that to myself. So just so I can reiterate it so that I can know for myself, okay, I am such a blessing and she is such a blessing. And also, if people are bothering you, like if there's somebody that is just really irritating your soul and you don't really want to approach them or come off as if you're angry at them or anything like that, or their energy is very, you know, negative, what you can do is find something positive to say before you make that call to that person. So let's say it's like a bill collector. Let's say it's the credit card people, and you know, and you know, like, okay, I know what they're about to be asking me in just a minute. So I'm gonna just say, before I answer the phone, I'm like, you are such a blessing. And then I'm gonna be like, hi, hey, how you doing? Let me tell you what's going on today. So I would suggest, like, for anybody, whenever something is bothering you or whenever you have negative thoughts or you feel negative thoughts about other people, find something positive to kind of counteract that and just intercept that, so that you don't always seem like you're negative or you don't always seem like things are not going your way. So you're such a blessing.
I like that. Especially I've heard associating an action with the positive words. So sometimes you have to like do something to snap your brain out of it. And so what I used to do as far as my action is, when I'll feel like, I don't want to do this, I'll be like, you can do this. Like I would clap before whatever I said, and it will make my brain like snap out of whatever I was thinking right then. So that's a good
one. And my last one is just, sometimes you have to let other things cut itself out so you can let others cut themselves in. Sometimes some people come, whether it's a person, whether it's an idea, situation, or whatever it is, sometimes you have to let them cut themselves out so others can grow in that spot. Everybody's not meant to come into your life at some point. Everybody has a reason, everybody has a season. Whenever they want to go, you just gotta let them go. As women, it's a natural inclination to just kind of fix and want people to stay. I don't know where that comes from. It's just like it's instinctive. But some people, you just have to let them go. Because as we are growing, as we constantly do, women are always growing no matter what. And sometimes some people just are not serving us well in that moment in time. And sometimes you have to say, you know what, it's okay if they leave, and then keep going on yourself. It's kind of hard to see somebody go, especially if they're really close to you and you're like, oh, I just really love this person. We've grown up together. But sometimes you have to divert your past and just go the opposite way. Oh my goodness. And just be okay with the fact that you are going and the fact that they have to go somewhere else. Whatever is going to replace them, you just have to know that it's going to be best for you, and it's going to help you go to your next level. Because everything that's coming into our lives, whether you know it or not, they're helping us build up to the next level. They're helping us to help other people. So whenever you let that happen, then you'll become a blessing. As Nadira says, you will be a blessing to others, and then it'll grow into fruition, and you'll be a great person for everybody around you. So that was the last thing I wanted to share.
Yes, I like that. Do not save them if they don't want to be saved. That main thing. And so if you invited somebody tonight, we want to give you a shout out in our Auntie Roundup. Okay, so we want to give you a shout out. If you invited somebody and they came, put your name and their name in the chat so we can give you a shout out as our aunties. And so we had quite a topic tonight while we're waiting on some of our shout outs. We had quite a topic tonight. Next time I'm thinking we should do like movies. Like maybe movies
or songs.
like songs. That's a good one. That's a good
like that.
We could do that. Probably come up like with some albums, something like that. That'd be pretty cool.
New MK Girl album.
Digging it into
I already know what songs I would add. I am the old school queen. I already know.
You are.
Excuse me.
You are the old school.
Okay. Carrie is the old school queen. So if we don't have any shout outs, actually, we have Q who invited Michaela. Hi, Michaela. Thank you for coming. I saw your camera on a couple of minutes ago and you had your cat. Thank you for coming, Michaela. And we love seeing your beautiful face here. And we hope you can come every Thursday. And we want to thank all of our aunties for coming. And so with all of our aunties, we call all of our supporters our aunties, people who either found us through Instagram, people who found us in person, or have found us on Facebook. We call all of our supporters aunties because you guys are family to us. And so with all that being said, we would love to stay with you all night, but we have to save some for the next Thursday. And so we will see you at the same time on the same Zoom with the same energy next Thursday. Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Look at me, look at you now, look at me, sis, you're up next now. Look at you now, look at me, look at you now, look at me, look at you now, look at me, sis, you're up next. I got your back. I got your back. Da 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 da. How you like that? How you like that? Da 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 da. Now, look at you. Now look at me. Look at you. Now look at me. Look at you. Now look at me. Sis, you're up next. Now, look at you. Now look at me.